for the best. Lost built of pride, cowards on to right. Close your eyes, just like your mind. I won't let myself become just like you. Pointing fingers, it's all you ever do. This time, this one's for you. Petrified, terrified, your life is purified. Human being in disguise, but you still smell like a bitch. You're so smart, hide your heart, to gain some peace of mind. You're so right in your eyes, to pleasure blind. I won't let myself become just like you. Pointing fingers, it's all you ever do. This time, this one's for you. This one's for you. Found the perfect way. You no longer exist. You're no longer in my
Welcome to AfterMat, your source for WWE pay-per-view recaps. I am your host, the People's Champ Cal, and alongside me as always, I have my tag team partner, the Glam's Anjulie. What's going on, Anjulie? Oh wait, I think I was on mute on that. Okay, now can you hear me? Yep, there you go. Sorry, I just introduced you.
Oh, sorry. Hey.
A lot of technical difficulties today. Sorry, but that's my fault for getting us late because everything just stopped working. I tested it earlier today and it was working, and then right before when we tested out, of course it stops working, so then I had to figure out and do a lot of troubleshooting, so that was my fault. But welcome to AfterMat. Today we'll be talking about, or this afternoon we'll be talking about Payback. I know it's a holiday weekend and people are away, so we're trying to get it done early because I know people have some barbecues to go to or enjoy the beach and stuff, so get this done early. That way you can enjoy the rest of your day, evening, whatsoever. And I hope you guys are having a good Labor Day. And then officially kicking off fall soon, right? So, but what'd you think of the pay per view overall, Alicia? Going into it with the card, like thinking about the card and stuff.
I feel like on paper I expected it to be pretty good. And I think it delivered on its promises. Um, yeah, I don't want to get too much into it, I guess, because it might spoil the actual reaction of the show. But yeah, I think it lived up to the appropriate hype. I suppose is that if I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, welcome, Will. How are you doing? Hope you're enjoying. I don't know if you have a day off or you're probably working maybe today. I don't know. I'm not sure if the store's open today, but hope you're doing well. Yeah, I mean, going into paper, there was only a few matches I was like really excited about going for this pay per view. But while watching it, for me, it had like a big four feel. Like a lot of the spots that they had, which we'll get to when we're covering the matches, they were huge spots in like almost every match. A few matches were lulls, but majority of the matches had big like four spots, like the spots that you'd see like at a WrestleMania or some SummerSlam or Royal Rumble. It was crazy and it was fun. Going in, like I said, I was only interested in one match. That of the matches I covered, I feel like that was the worst match of the ones I had to. The one that I was excited about was what happened to be the one that I cared about least after I finished watching the whole entire pay per view. So of my three matches, that is. But with that said, let's go ahead and start with the first match. 'Cause I know people have places to be. I was gonna say people to do, but maybe not people to do. Just people to hang with. But the first match was a steel cage match. Finally, after all this time, these two are going to go at it. Becky Lynch against the Hall of Famer Trish Stratus, entering her first ever cage match from what I remember them saying in the pay per view during the pay per view. A lot, I don't know. Trish was, obviously the heel, so she did a lot of like heely tactics. She tried to leave, win the match early and often by trying to escape the cell. But the match used the cell a lot. In typical, steel cage or Hell in a Cell, I get more so in Hell in a Cell. Use the cage as a weapon, and Elimination Chamber, same thing. They use the cage as a weapon. Steel cage matches is mostly like just a match in the steel cage. Once in a while you'll see people throw them against the cage, but in this match the cage was used often, like almost like 70% of the time. The cage was used as a weapon in this match, and you could see it because if you saw Trish Stratus after the match, she had a giant welt on her forehead. She had black and blues all over her. Like it was crazy. They went off like on each other using the cage. So like I said, Trish tried to leave early in the match. Becky stopped her, and then Trish countered it early on and started slamming Becky's head against the cage wall, wall or whatever you want to call it, the side of the cage. And she pretty much used the cage to her advantage for the majority of the beginning of the match until Becky was able to reverse some momentum and then use that cage that Trish is using so well in the beginning of the match against Becky used it against got her revenge on Trish, or her payback on Trish, and used the cage against Trish that by torpedoing her into the cage several times with her with Trish on Becky's shoulder, using her as a battering ram into the cage wall, which this is what probably caused the welt on Trish's forehead. Becky also hit that leg drop off the top over onto Trish's back. Trish tried to escape several times. This is where Becky kept pulling her back in. Becky went for several manhandle slams and didn't get them at this point in the match. She also went for a disarmer, but Trish was able to get out of it. Trish went for Stratosphere. I think that was countered eventually into like a power. No, it was a Hurricane Rana or something. Or I forgot how they got off the top rope at that point. Another time, Trish went for the top. Becky stopped her and power bombed her through the cage. Off the top to the floor. And that was pretty cool. Another time, Trish was hanging off the side of the wall on the outside by her legs, like kind of like doing that monkey, like when you do on monkey bars, putting your legs to the top, and she's hanging off that. They got back down again. It was a lot of back and forth action, a lot of brutal action inside. It wasn't much wrestling. There was some wrestling here and there, but the top moments are usually when the cage is used as a weapon. The spots where they Trish brought Becky, or Becky brought Trish back down from the top while she's escaping. But another key moment is it was a callback, like Will was saying in the chat. The first ever steel cage match between two women was I think Victoria against Lita, and you got to see Trish and Becky use moves of those two other people, the previous or their predecessors respectively. Trish hit the Widow's Peak and went for the pin. That's Victoria's finishing move, and Becky kicked out immediately after that. Becky hit the Twist of Fate, which is Lita's. I don't know if you want to consider it a finisher or signature move. And Trish cacked out. So it was a lot of cool back and forth action. Eventually, I think Becky ended up hitting the manhandle slam and tried to escape from the top of the by climbing ladder to the top. And at that point, Trish started seeing that and started crawling towards the door of the cage. And all of a sudden, the door cage opened kind of fast, and you see Zoe Stark there. And apparently, the whole thing was like for them to have this match in a steel cage just to avoid Zoe Stark's interference. But here she is interfering in the match, and she tries to pull Trish out of the door. Becky sees that, jumps back down, starts pulling Trish from the legs, while Zoe Stark is pulling Trish from her arms. There's a tug of war. Eventually, Becky wins that tug of war. So as she tries to go after Zoe Stark, so she pulls Trish away from the door. She goes after just Zoe Stark at the door, and Zoe Stark slams the cage door onto Becky's head. Becky falls back, and Trish catches her in like a roll up and gets a 2 count. And Becky kicks out. Becky then hits the manhandle slam and goes for the pin 1, 2, and right before the 3 hits, Zoe Stark comes in and hits Becky. And then Becky kind of slams the door, holds the door closed so Zoe can't escape. She hits a manhandle slam on Becky. And then I think this is when Trish is escaping while Becky hits the manhandle slam on Zoe. Trish is escaping. Becky sees that, climbs up to the top, pulls Trish off the top of the cage, and then hits the manhandle slam from the top rope down to the floor. 1, 2, 3. Becky is your winner. And it was a pretty good match. This is Trish's final match. It was a really good match, kind of like passing the torch off to her. But that wasn't it. After the match was over and Becky left, Trish is kind of like getting in Zoe's face and like, you ruined it. You messed it up for me. I could have won this match, but you ruined it for me. Then she slaps Zoe, and then eventually Zoe hits the Z360, I think it's called, or something. Her finisher on Trish, leaves her there, takes off the thank you Trish shirt, and kind of leaves saying like, I'm done with you and all that. What do you think, Delisha?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match. I'm glad. I honestly think because this is Trisha's first cage match and like she was really excited about it. I think they like, and because it was Becky, it gave them like the green light to just go, and I really like that. And like I said, they were definitely using the cage more than you usually get to see sometimes outside of like a Hell in a Cell match, but as in like a standard cage matches, which we actually don't get a lot of that. To be fair, but I really enjoyed it. I do hope this is the end of Trish and Becky. I'm pretty sure we're heading just to Zoe and Trish, so I'm glad for that. And I think that Trish did her job as getting Zoe, I guess, or giving Zoe the rub, so to speak. Um, because Zoe's been able to, she's always been great in the ring, but able to showcase herself better on the mic, especially having to go up against Becky in that aspect. So I'm kind of glad that Becky gets to move on from this because this has been going on for a while, maybe a little too long feud wise, but I did really enjoy this match, and I think we get to see a little bit of where Becky's going for at least a brief spell. But I think that happened later on in the night, and then we kind of get to see where Trish is going now, just to help Zoe even further by putting her in a feud with her. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it was very well done. This was Trish's last match. It was a great match to see her. She got pretty beaten, bruised, but I mean, it was a hell of a match. I really enjoyed it. I didn't
Oh
like
yeah,
it.
I will say Becky did too. I think she had like these big bruises on like her arms and stuff. I did
Uh,
see that later on in the match.
it's crazy because like remember I think it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago when they were on Raw. They were doing a segment, and I think the crowd was saying, "No one cares, no one cares," and this happened to be a great match. So that's pretty cool to see. Welcome, Entertained. I see you joined while I was doing my little recap. Welcome, Entertained. Hope you're doing well on Labor Day. The next match was I don't know if it was a grudge match or whatever you want to call it, but it was LA Knight versus The Miz. And before that happened, John Cena came out because apparently he's the host of Payback, and then he announced that as host of Payback, he's going to be the special guest referee for this match, much to Miz's chagrin, because Miz came out to confront him before the match started, saying, like, you can do anything else. He gave him some advice, because, you know, Miz has been one of the most, if not the most successful host of any pay-per-view, since he's hosted many of them. But, you know, he came out, and, like, him and Cena had a moment, and then LA Knight came out, and the match started. It was basically a typical match. Nothing really spectacular happened. LA Knight had a pretty cool a slingshot clothesline from outside the barricade over onto Miz. There were a bunch of reversals of the skull crushing finale to the blunt force trauma, and then back and forth with that. There's some good reversals into pins early on as well. Miz had a cool DDT. So did LA Knight. LA Knight had like a spinning neckbreaker DDT on Miz from the corner. John Cena was doing a pretty good job of being the referee. There's some points where Miz and LA Knight kind of bumped into LA Knight or bumped into Miz, and like there's like a little stare down which caused them to be distracted. And the other guy took advantage. But there was not really a big spot per se in this match. This is the one match that I don't think there was any real big spot besides some of those nice DDTs that we saw. There's some slams onto the announcer table, like head slams, whatever you call them, into the announcer table. But other than that, like it was just mostly like Will said, Johnson did a good job because you didn't really notice that he was in the match, other than like those few moments when like he got involved and pulled like them off. A lot of what I see in LA Knight is like on Stone Cold, when Stone Cold used to do the mud hole stomps and the audience used to go, what? Now they do like, yeah. It's the same thing. So he's basically like a Stone Cold, like a bootleg version of Stone Cold. I'm still not sold on LA Knight, but whatever. Anyway, at the end of the match, Miz goes for a skull crushing finale, but LA Knight reverses out of it, and then LA Knight goes to clothesline Miz. Miz ducks it, and LA Knight almost hits John Cena, and they have a stare down. During that stare down, Miz comes from behind LA Knight, hits the skull crushing finale. LA Knight obviously kicks out, and then Miz is kind of like, what the hell, in disbelief, like how did he kick out of that? And while he's still in disbelief, uh, LA Knight's about to gets to muster up enough energy to hit a BFT on Miz, and it gets to 1, 2, 3. They leave, and basically at the top of the entrance ramp, or at the beginning of the entrance ramp, um, John Cena and LA Knight shake hands. He says, "I got respect for you." That's what Jen says to LA Knight, and that's it. That's how the match ended. Pretty not spectacular. This is a match I was actually looking forward to because I'm a big fan of the Miz. But I'll get to what to say about the Miz after I get Delicia's take on the match. So Delicia, what you think?
Yeah, I thought the match was fine. I again, I'm not on the like big hype train for LA Knight, but he is a good talker. He's really good, quick with his on the mic. He I think this was the perfect, I guess, not starting off feud, but it kind of feels like a starting off feud with Miz, because Miz is gonna take care of him on in and out the ring as well. Um, it was it was fun. I'm not gonna lie, it was actually fun to see John Cena in the ring. I He told me I'd be excited for John Cena a few years ago, I'd have been told you were crazy. But the more he's away, the more he is missed when he comes back. And I was texting my friend. I was like, I wouldn't be mad at Cena facing the Miz or LA Knight for just like a little quick one-off match on SmackDown or Raw, which I think it'd just be fun because they kind of now both have a little bit of history with him, especially the Miz. I just think that was really fun. And he's not acting right now because they're on strike, so he's got some time. But yeah, the match was fine. I think. I mean, Knight needed the win more than the Miz needed the win, so it was booked fine. It's just that I just, because of where the title scene is right now, I don't know where else you put Knight right now. Um, yeah, but that's what I keep getting stuck with. Like, well, what does he do now? Because when um before Ray won the title off of Theory, it was like, oh yeah, that would be perfect. Like that's a good like starting point for him to go beat Theory. But now it's like LWO in Theory, so it's just like, all right, well, what do we do now? So it'll be interesting to see how they navigate this because he is legit red hot with the crowd, and you can't just ignore that before you just like basically just screw him over. But I don't know, it is WWE, so you never know.
Yeah, like Will said, it was a good cool down between after this, the great match, the great opening match of the steel cage match. But yeah,
I agree with that.
um, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not sold on LA Knight either. Like I feel like the lead up to the match, because I watch those promos. I usually fast forward through Raw and SmackDown or whatever. But when I see people I like on the mic, like I know that I love the Miz on the mic, so seeing him do that imitation of him a few weeks ago, like I feel like all the promos and all that leading up to the match was better than the match itself. But I feel bad for the Miz. Like I think the Miz only won like once or twice in the last 747 years. So like, I mean, I know he's there now to put people over and do like, cause he's like the best company man they've had in a really long time. Like he'll do whatever it takes to like put people over and all
Yeah,
that.
I didn't realize it had been like 20 years of him in the business. Well, one, because it still
Yeah,
looked great, and I'm like, dang, dude, who were you, 14 when you joined? Like, but I know that's not true. But yeah, I mean, that's just the thing. He's just always going to be the the journeyman. I don't think that's appropriate for Ruben Miz, but he's always going to be like the one that's like putting people over, and
yeah,
and he gets paid well for that.
yeah,
So
yeah. I don't think
I
he's complaining, but yeah,
yeah. I think he knows his role right now, and then, but he is also those people that they know that they can just heat him up, whether it is he. I mean, he's always better as a heel, so I don't really need him as a face right now. But yeah, he's gonna do his job and get that feud going, whatever it is right now. And I hope that people recognize that and give him his flowers while he's still in the business and not like wait until he's like at the Hall of Fame ceremony.
yeah. That's what I feel like. Like I feel like he should get another run as champion. Like unfortunately, oh wait, Seth Rollins is the face, right? So seeing him against Seth Rollins would be pretty good. I'd rather see him beat Seth Rollins because like I don't know when Roman Reigns will ever be back. So, and I don't want him to beat Roman Reigns. So, I'd like to see him fight Seth and beat Seth and like I feel like he's just done so much for the company. He's got to get something back. It's getting kind of
Yeah,
annoying that
and as far
he's.
as LA Knight goes, he doesn't need to be fantastic in the ring itself. He's very charismatic, and that's what's getting him over with the crowd. I mean, it's they're not really in the same category. I would put LA Knight over him, but it's the same with like Zack Ryder. Like he wasn't the greatest in the ring. Greatest in the ring, but he was very charismatic, and people just loved him. And they dropped the ball on that one on getting him over. So let's hope that they don't do the same here. And if we're being honest, I mean, The Rock wasn't the greatest wrestler, but legit, he was one of the greatest. Is still one of the greatest people on the mic in wrestling history, and just charismatic. That people just want to cheer for you no matter what you're doing. So, just to waylay some of those, wrestling snobs on Twitter, you don't have to be the greatest in the ring to get yourself over with the crowd. That's really what at the end of the day, that's what you're here for, is to play a role for the crowd, for them to want to see you. And he's doing that. What people like him in the ring still, but mostly with his promo.
I mean, yeah, you can say the same thing on Cena. Four move Cena. He wasn't that good in the ring either,
Yeah, yeah.
but everyone loved him on the mic.
Be respectful, Kyle. It was 5 moves, Cena. You
Hmm.
know.
Whatever. All right. The next match was for I think it's a United States Championship match
Mhm.
featuring the United States Champion Rey Mysterio against Austin Theory.
Yeah, so what was originally supposed to be Santos, um, wound up being Rey Mysterio. Still skeptical on that, but I think Santos might have been legit hurt for a while, so I get it. But Mysterio, of course, as his role as being the smaller person, had to try to get the upper hand straight away by doing like a lot of punches and quick roundabout moves to get to fight off Theory, who is the stronger opponent, so to speak. He is bigger, and I guess you could say he's stronger, but because he would use that power to like combat Mysterio's quickness, with some chin locks and trying to, I guess, beat him down into submission to really ground him, as big opponents usually do when they're going against smaller opponents who like to, toss themselves across the ring. Sorry, I thought I'd sneeze. Didn't come. But of course, Theory, being the heel that he is, tried to take shortcuts, and one of them trying to rip off Mysterio's mask is more of a distraction rather than like trying to um end the match or whatever. But doing that fired up Mysterio with what was he going? I think it was like a moonsault and I think it's yeah, I don't think, well, it's not really called a baseball slide, but the slide out the ring onto the ring floor. But there it
Let's
is.
see.
Sorry. Thank you. And then Mysterio, he tried to go for the 619, but got countered with I think it was like a power bomb, or oh no, I don't think it has a name. Well, I don't know that formal name for it, but he like some sort of splash with his knees. Not the 8 town down, but like something different. Um, and then I think he tried to do like a little roll up. I think he tried to go for the tights as well. But that didn't work. And then and then Mysterio tried to counter that with a roll up to actually wind up getting a pin. And I don't think we got any interference from. Well, I guess no. Theory doesn't have his people anymore because one of them injured. So there's really no interference needed by the rest of the LWO. They did come out with Mysterio, but then they went back to the backstage. But Mysterio did retain against Theory. I think this match was a little bit more flat than the last match we talked about, because I really just besides like Theory trying to get trying to get his belt back, there really was no um great build up or story for this match. I think it's also because it's Mysterio being flat as a champion. I'm sorry to say, but I really do think this would have been better if Santos would have been cleared to go during at that time, and then had the actual match between him and Theory. I think that would have been a much more exciting match, as they are the two younger dudes. Not to say that Ray can't go. I mean, obviously the man can go, but it just didn't really do it for me. But it's like overall, it was fine. It wasn't like mind blowing, but it was fine. Did you feel that way, or did you actually like the match or not like the match?
this was very much a lackluster match for me as well. Like it was a good a well wrestled match. This is like a match you'd see on SmackDown or Raw, in my opinion. It wasn't really a pay per view caliber match. It was good, but I mean, there's nothing. I think, like you said, like it was supposed to be Santos Escobar, which would have been. I don't know much about him. I've seen him a few times, but I think that would have definitely been a better match. Like Rey Mysterio is pretty much a nostalgia act by now. Like in my opinion, I'm not really up on Rey Mysterio anymore. I used to love him back in the cruiserweight days and all that, but now like I've never ever since they made him to a quote unquote heavyweight, I don't buy it. He'll always be like one of the best cruiserweight champions for me. So Theory, he kind of grew on me while he was champion. I feel like he's kind of like the Miz of today in a way. Like he's very charismatic. He's safe in the ring, but I don't know. Like I feel like I don't really care if I see him. I don't see him. But as other people, I'd probably rather see before I see Austin Theory, or Theory, whatever his name. I don't know what they would change his name back and forth to. So yeah, this match I couldn't care less about. It was fine. It was a good match, but like I said, it could have been on a regular card as opposed to a pay per view, regular weekly show card. All right. Things were lulled for two matches. Well, let's pick it up again. Now it's for the undisputed tag team championships. In a I don't know, like a Pittsburgh street fight. I don't know what they called it. It was something had some special name to it. Featuring the undisputed tag team champions Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn against Finn Balor and Damian Priest representing Judgment Day. This match was pretty much full throttle the entire match. As soon as it started, it was in the ring for like 3 seconds, and then the rest of the match pretty much took happen like outside the ring, other than your your finish. Like the match is pretty much all outside. There's a few moments to get into the ring again, but other than that, it was all outside. Both teams go at it pretty hard from the beginning. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens get the upper hand early on. Then they start pulling out weapons like chairs, trash cans. They didn't get the table yet. The fans are cheering for the table, but they didn't get it yet. And I think they got some kendo sticks as well. At one point, Balor pulls out a bucket from underneath the ring, which had the terrible towels, which is a Pittsburgh Steelers thing, underneath the ring. It was a lot of great back and forth action. Kevin Owens rips off his shirt and had a Terry Funk shirt underneath it, because we lost Terry Funk a few weeks ago. They had a great spot where they put the Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens put the trash can on top of Finn Balor, had kendo sticks and take turns hitting the trash can with Finn Balor inside of it. That was a cool moment to see. It was just a great brawl from the beginning, like just nonstop, like crazy action. They kept taking like one member of Judgment Day out until Judgment Day finally took Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to the outside of the ring. I mean, like the over the barricade into the audience. Now they're fighting in the audience. It's a pretty Steel City street fight. Thank you. Well, it was pretty much good back and forth action. And they run to the outside into the crowd, fighting there. At this point, Finn Balor and Damian Priest are kind of making a comeback, but they're being thwarted by Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens until Dominic Mysterio comes and blindsides them and helps Judgment Day take advantage, throwing Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn into this, I don't know what you want to call it. It's kind of like the press area. I don't know what you want to call it, but some area. And that's when the Judgment Day huddles together to strategize, saying, let's get them back to the ring. Let's get this win. We'll pin them really quickly because they're pretty much done. There's nothing they can do. They're out of it. And then the camera pans over to the right. You see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn now wearing Pittsburgh Penguins jerseys. Kevin Owens wearing Mario Lemieux, and Sami Zayn wearing Sidney Crosby, two of the great captains through the years, both centermen for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Mario Lemieux, a Hall of Famer, Sidney Crosby, a future Hall of Famer, and they're holding hockey sticks at the table, the kickoff table. I don't think it was kickoff table yet. Will, that's coming a little bit later. They're this is by the entrance ramp. Maybe it was kickoff table, but they went over into this little press area. I know they go to the kickoff table later, and Sami Zayn does crazy stuff off the thing. But I mentioned earlier on, Sami Zayn did a somersault senton over the top, I believe it was, maybe through the top and middle rope onto the Judgment Day with Kevin Owens jumping out of the way. But yes, now they have hockey. Now Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have hockey sticks, and they're hitting the Judgment Day with hockey sticks. And at this point, they're hitting. Sorry, they're hitting. Balor and Damian Priest. Dominic comes from behind and grabs the hockey stick out of Kevin Owens' hands, and then they have a stare down between Zayn and Owens against Dominic. Just like a hockey fight, the Owens and Zayn throw down their gloves, start punching Dominic, pretty much taking him out of the match for the time being. Um, Everyone returns back to the ring. Here's another part where they're actually in the ring area for like a little bit. There's some fighting going on in the ring, and then for some reason, I don't know how this happens, but they go back to the outside again. This is when Sami Zayn hits the somersault senton on the off the kickoff table announced area onto I think Damian Priest maybe. Dominic gets involved again at this point, and Kevin Owens pulls him to like this fan area, puts him onto a table, climbs up to the rafters, and does a swanton and almost misses Dominic Mysterio, which is probably the holy shit moment of the night because that's when the fans went holy shit, and hits Dominic through the table on the outside. Finally, the four men get back into the ring again, and there's some exploder slams. I think finally Kevin Owens hits the stunner on Damian Priest. I think it's on Damian Priest. It's on one of the guys. The other gets a hell of a kick in the corner, and Sami Zayn goes for the pin. So 1, 2, and all of a sudden Sami Zayn's pulled off of whoever they're getting pinned. It might have been Balor by JD McDonough, who's a friend of Finn Balor. He gets involved, and then he gets put through the announcer table. As that's happening, Rhea Ripley comes out of nowhere and spears Kevin Owens through the barricade. So that was another cool moment. Then it's pretty much 2-on-1 inside the ring, but I think this is when Sami Zayn's going for another hell of a kick as he's running at Finn Balor. Damian Priest throws a garbage can at Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn falls to a corner after Balor hits his drop kick, and then Balor goes for the coup de grace. Then Sami Zayn rolls out of the way, hits a haluva kick again. As he's going for the pin, now Dominic Mysterio comes in with the Money in the Bank briefcase, hits Sami Zayn, who rolls over, and Finn Balor rolls onto him. 1, 2, 3. You have new undisputed tag team champions in the Judgment Day, and they pretty much have all the belts at this point. Well, not all the belts, but most of the belts, and as well as the Money in the Bank champion briefcase. And it was quite a match. I don't know if I missed any other big spots, but those were pretty much all the big spots. Because it was like basically a brawl. Kevin Owens was also busted open, so it was just crazy fighting on the outside for most of the part, and some chair shots. I think someone went through a table also earlier in the table on the side of the ring. I can't remember who that was. Might have been Dominic actually again. Dominic went through like 2 tables. McDonough went through a table. Owens went through the barricade. It was a lot of great action. What'd you think, Alicia?
Yeah, this match had no business being as good as it was. Or maybe that was just my low expectation. I'm not really sure. But it was a banger, dare I say. That wasn't any shade to like the teams involved. I just didn't I thought it was just gonna be like an okay match. But it was really I think it might have been one of my favorites of the night, just because in the terms of intensity and the maybe I'm in the wrong, but I was actually shocked that Judgment Day won the belts. But I do think that's a fun aspect that they are all holding gold plus a briefcase at this point. And Dom, he was just putting his life out there, to making sure his team won. I definitely was not. I was expecting interference from Dom, and I kind of forgot about JD. While like the match is going, that he was like he might get involved. I wasn't expecting Rhea because she usually doesn't get involved when she has a match, on the card, and so to see her just come out and just spear, was it KO, into the barricade.
Yeah.
Was hilarious to me. But yeah, I really did enjoy the match, and yeah, I'm glad that Judgment Day actually won, because now they actually are now being presented as the top tier faction right now. Especially they keep throwing shade to the Bloodline too, but especially with the Bloodline being like imploded and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to see how this goes down the line.
Yeah, so without the Bloodline there, they had this Judgment Day has become the top faction. You know how I love my stables and factions. Still waiting for my Indian stable, but Yeah, that might happen because authors of Pain have been re-signed, so we'll see what happens. But I remember like a year ago or maybe a year and a half ago, we were talking about how um, no, Will, it's a 2-on-2 match. I don't know what you're talking about. There's only 4 people in the picture right there. You see that, Will? Only 2-on-2. Um, yeah, we were talking about how like Judgment Day is like a year and a half ago, maybe a year ago. We're talking about how Judgment Day is like such a kind of failure, right? We're like there when the leadership went from Edge to Finn Balor. Judgment Day pretty much kept losing every match. If you remember that, like they're losing like left and right. There's nothing. Now they have the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. Rhea Ripley's your Women's World Champion, whatever you call it. Um, Dominic's your North American Champion. Money in the Bank for Damian Priest. They've actually now succeeded where this is kind of what we saw them become, and that's what they are now. So it's pretty cool to see. I'm happy that they're doing well. But I'd probably rather see Balor win the championship, but it didn't happen. Um, does JD join Judgment Day? I don't even know. I mean, his name is JD, so it could be Judgment Day McDonough, right? Or that'd be whatever. Is it JD or JT? Whatever it is, but it could be Judgment Day. Yeah, Judgment
Yeah,
Day
it's
McDonough.
JD.
But speaking of the bloodline, the next thing that happened was a Waller, what's it called Grayson Waller effect segment featuring Cody Rhodes. It was pretty much another waste of time here. They could have got rid of this thing, and they could have got rid of the uh, Austin Theory match and had a really long match for somebody else. This was a pretty stupid segment. Cody Rhodes comes out, and it's not Austin Theory. It's the same guy as Austin Theory. It's Grayson Waller continuously makes fun of Cody Rhodes. Says, "Well, I heard you had a big announcement. What's your big announcement?" I don't know why he's doing this, but Cody Rhodes says, "Oh, we signed whatever his name is, Jay Uso. Is it Jay? Yeah, I think it's Jay. Yeah, it's Jay. Jay Uso to the Raw brand. So Jay Uso comes out and then super kicks Grayson Waller, and that was about it. Nothing really else to talk about there. It's a pretty stupid segment. I don't know why it had to happen there. I mean, I guess just to have Cody on the pay-per-view. That's the whole point of it. It's pretty stupid. The next match was for the Women's World Championship, featuring the Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley against Raquel Rodriguez.
Yeah, that was definitely just to get Cody on the card.
Right.
But that does, make Raw a little bit more interesting, and the whole again still keeping that bloodline saga. I won't say strong because it is in a bit of a dip, but intriguing still because you still got to see how it's gonna play out. But here we have Rhea and Raquel. If you've watched NXT, Raquel is kind of one of like Rhea's biggest nemesis because they are besties in real life, but they did make a point of mentioning. I don't know if it was in the package or on commentary. They made a point of mentioning how like, they're really good friends now turned enemies, as Rhea has been on the dark side. And honestly, they if you ever seen Raquel and Rhea, then you know exactly what you're gonna get because they're two like powerhouse women just going at it. I think Rhea got a lot of bit of was getting a lot of upper hand because I think she was targeting the previously injured knee of Raquel, and then um I'm pretty sure it was kayfabe where she was getting down from the top of the ring and kind of like not threw her knee out but like and hurt her knee a little bit so she couldn't get the move she was looking for. I don't the what is her like not choke slam move but Baha I don't know how to say her Raquel's finishing move. I don't I almost want to say Baja Blast. I'm like that is not the name of her move.
I didn't even know she had a finisher. I know nothing about Raquel Rodriguez. Oh, she was like Liv Morgan's partner. That's about all I know.
Yeah, no, it has a name. It begins with a B, and I don't remember what it was because she didn't really get. I don't think she got to use it in this match. But chat, let me know what is it called and how do you pronounce it because I always get it wrong. But Rhea being the
Oh,
dom and
Chingona Bomb?
the what now?
Chingona Bomb, and then became the Tejana Bomb?
Yeah, that's what it's called. Tahana.
Tejana, yeah, it's like Texas, but like
Oh.
Texas, Arizona, Texas. Tejana. Texana.
Yeah. Uh oh, I forgot where I was. Anyway,
No, it's
I
Tejana.
was gonna say, huh?
No, Will. I think Will heard it wrong too. It's this. Will. I'm typing it.
Oh, it's when you're not paying attention and they're saying it, you don't realize what they're saying. Um, but I know Rhea tried to get a riptide early on to Raquel, and that didn't work. And then she actually used one of Rhea's moves against her outside of the ring, where Rhea like holds you and like throws you against the barricade. She did that to Rhea, and then threw her into the well, not the turnbuckle, but the standing structure at the corner of the ring.
Steel post.
Where the
Yeah.
yeah, that's what's called post. I know words. And it looked like Raquel was going to start in the wing, but surprise to no one, Dom comes out to try to help Rhea, and Raquel. These R's, man, Rhea and Raquel. I can't even do their last name because it's Rodriguez and Ripley. Anyway,
Yeah.
but,
That's why I was saying
uh,
Sheamus and Cesaro for me. Like it's always said the H sounds Sheamus and Cesaro, but whatever.
Yeah, when she dragged him into the ring, gave him a power slam, but that was enough for Ripley to give her a drop kick and then get the actual riptide onto her to retain her title. I think this is a really good match between. I think it was a really good showcase for Raquel, which is what I thought it would be in the overall anyway. I didn't think Rhea was going to lose. I will say honestly, their match in NXT was just a little bit better. But I think, but I think they also had, I think that was also like a false count anywhere match, so they were able to like do other things. But I do think this was a really good payoff for Raquel to show her dominance. But you are right, Kel. She does not have a character. The only thing,
Mhm.
if you told me what Raquel's character was, is that she's someone's tag team partner most of the time, and she smiles and she has a nice back. That's all I know.
Yeah.
That's all I know. And I really think they need to do a better job of fleshing her out a little bit to be a legit contender. Like the only thing they and she's strong. That's all we know about Raquel. That they showed us on the main roster. I feel like in NXT she was a little bit more fleshed out. Of course, that's where the nickname like Big Mommy Cool came out of, because she was kind of Dakota Kai's Diesel to HBK, but that's a different story. But yeah, I really want her to just be more of a character rather than a smiling baby face. But it is what it is. And Rhea came out on top like she should have been and always will be, because mommy is life. Okay.
Yeah, I have nothing invested in this match. I like Rhea Ripley, but like I figured she was gonna win, so I really didn't have anything invested in this match because I like Raquel Rodriguez. See, I can't remember like which one she is now. She's just bland, and I think she'd probably do better as a tag team partner for Rhea Ripley. They could be like the new Brothers of Destruction kind of thing. Like they're not, obviously not brothers, but either Kane and Undertaker. But you know what I mean? Like they could be two big powerhouse women as a strong tag team, more so than like Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. Maybe if maybe if Shayna fights Rhea Ripley next, we could see Raquel coming to Shayna's aid. Sorry, not Shayna's aid, Rhea's aid. Not that she'll need it, but maybe just not to make Shayna look weak. Maybe like Rhea needs help winning and Dom can't do it, and all of a sudden Raquel's like, you know what, like you really instilled a new mindset in me to become ruthless like you, and they can become a tag team, then win the women's tag team championships as well, and then have all the belts pretty much. So that would be kind of cool to see, and that like she could probably benefit from Judgment Day. Like I think she can benefit from Judgment Day and yeah, Disaster Sisters, something like that. Yeah, something like that. Well, that's a good idea. Like that's what I'm saying. Put them together eventually, or put her into Judgment Day. Put her into a faction because her alone is just not doing anything for me. All right. The next match for the World Championship, Men's World Championship, featuring the Men's World Champion Seth Rollins against Shinsuke Nakamura.
So this one, I was very, I wouldn't say excited about. I was very, again, intrigued on how this match would go. Apparently, which I was shocked to hear, this was Shinsuke's very first pay per view or premium live event, whatever, that he's ever main evented in WWE, and I was like, that is criminal. But kudos to Nakamura getting his first live event main event title match ever. They did show in the crowd. It was Japanese listening. Is it Kaiji Muto? Kai.
The Great Muda.
Yeah. Oh, right. I don't know why my brain didn't do that. I was I just copied my notes from what I normally do.
Yeah, the
But
great.
yeah, because I believe it was Shinsuke who beat him in his final match
Yep.
in New Japan.
Yep.
So they're really good friends, and that was a very historic event. But we first started just being up a straight up like wrestling match between Shinsuke and Seth. These two are workhorses, and they were going to show you why they're workhorse type wrestlers. This was leading up to it. They were targeting. I mean, Shinsuke was targeting Seth's back because, which I also didn't know, is that he has a low back fracture that I guess they can't do surgery on, or it's too risky. I don't know, but he has a bad back. So Shinsuke targeted that throughout the whole all of the match, and Seth was like selling it well every time Shinsuke would do, whether it be a backbreaker or some sort of submission moves that target the low back. You saw stuff like avoiding some of his other signature moves. Like I think at one point he was going where he would do like a superplex probably off top rope. He changed it to a hurricanrana for it to be less pressure or less impact on his back. And or anytime when he did do a move that involved any type of back activity, which if you ever hurt your back is like everything. um it they really played it up, and I think Shinsuke was going for a lot of more submission moves, whether it be I think like a Boston Crab, I think at one point into, and then I remember he had him in a leg lock, and then Seth tried to reverse it, but Shinsuke just reversed that into a what was it triangle
It's an
choking.
armbar. It was like an armbar. Well, I think at one part he had him in an armbar, but I think he might have had him in a triangle choke as well. I can't remember.
Yeah, yeah, because it's a every time I say it, I just want to say the Hell's Gate, but that's not, that was when like Take Heroes was in it, but that's not it.
The Hell's Gate's actually not a triangle choke. It's an omoplata, I believe.
Oh no, it's yeah, it's a brain one. I know what you mean, but no, it's
A
not.
Goga
That's not
plata,
right.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very similar though because you use your leg as the choke point, whereas on the Hell's Gate he puts the guy's head on his like a shin and pulls down the head, and whereas
yeah,
a triangle choke the head is inside of the knee part, and then you're squeezing with your leg on your other leg and squeezing them inside.
gotcha.
Just some MMA for
Yeah,
you.
that's right. That's been MMA talk on Afro. um, I was say Shinsuke did get a
Kinshasa.
Kinshasa onto Rollins, and then I think he tried to go for another one, and then Rollins was like collapsed onto uh onto the ring mat instead. But instead of going for like a pin, he just went for like a fury of strikes, and then Rollins reversed it and got him in pedigree, and did set him up for the stomp. But then he ran into like a kick from uh Shinsuke instead. And then there was like a bunch of like reversing moves back and forth between the two before Seth got a stomp to me out of nowhere to get the win. Um, while one, it would have been cool and fun to see Shinsuke win the title, because it just, I think, I don't know, after the promos he was having on Seth and like the back for their hair, I was like, all right, just give Shinsuke the title, it'd be fun. But of course they still want Rollins to carry that belt to like be the stronghold for Raw. Overall, I think the match was really good, but it's Shinsuke and stuff. Like I don't think they know how to have a bad match. Like you can put them in. I don't even know what I was gonna say. Never mind. But it was a hard hitting match, and I'm glad Nakamura got some shine. They really are really up and down with him, more down than up, so to speak, more often than not. But I'm really glad that he got like showcased to show like what he can do. I know people like get on it like he still isn't the quote unquote strong style that he's been in Japan, but that like New Japan Wrestling is not WWE. Like it's a different feel in like for in ring ability, not ability for in ring showcasing. And like Shinsuke is legit cool. He's making his money and surfing in whatever ocean he can get to. He's fine. But I really am glad he really got showcased. And like I said, I was really shocked to learn that this was his first pay-per-view live event main event match, and I think he showed why he should be in more of those. But did you like the match? Would you have wanted Shinsuke to win or not? And who do you think is the person that should like beat Rollins to carry the belt on? Or yeah.
All right. So first of all, first question is, did I enjoy the match? Yes, I thought it was wrestled very well. And for you, I know you like story. A lot of story was told in that match with like the back injury, and then Seth kept bringing up, "Oh, you're bringing my family into this. You gotta bring my family into this," like kind of thing. But like, I got tired of that. He kept saying that. I'm like, I don't care. They had a good story, but like, I didn't care for the story. So, but the match was wrestled well. I wanted Shinsuke to win, but obviously Shinsuke's not that great on the mic. Or I mean, he is, but maybe more in the Japanese sense. Kind of like he doesn't have the same flair Asuka does when she like talks in Japanese because it's funnier when Asuka does it. But Shinsuke's supposed to be like a more like badass like villain kind of thing, like an old school badass villain. Uh, he should be champion, but I guess his mic abilities and stuff, like he can't really carry the crowd and all that um, through mic work. He's more of an in-ring technician, obviously. So that's why they have Seth Rollins still as champion because he's like that workhorse that they want to have him have the championship. He's a draw. He's more of a draw than Shinsuke in some aspects. Um, who do I see beating Seth Rollins? I want the Miz to beat him, but it's not gonna be the Miz, obviously. Um, maybe Damian Priest, so he has that belt. I'd rather see Finn Balor beat him. I'd rather see anybody. I'm tired of Seth Rollins. I'm really tired of Seth Rollins. So I just want to see anyone beat him at this point. Hell, I'd rather see Roman Reigns beat him so that Roman gets that belt as well and just keeps holding every belt. That's why I'd love to see that. That's why I want to see him beat him, Roman Reigns, just so he gets that belt as well and then never defends it. That would be fantastic for me. I'd love to see that. But yeah, I'd rather have Shinsuke win, but he's not going to win because of his ability not to be on the mic and stuff, like his lack of mic ability and stuff like that. So that's what kind of sucks. But like, it was a well wrestled match. It was a good main event. Would I have rather seen the tag team championships as the main event? Yes, but they weren't going to do that. But I mean, and going into that match, we didn't know that match was going to be as great as we. This is like the match. This is kind of like that match against AJ Styles where Nakamura was like that should have been the main event of WrestleMania, right? AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, but it wasn't. Even though it's a championship match, and how WrestleMania's have like 14 main events, like technically that it was a main event, but it wasn't the final match of the night, kind of thing, So I feel like put these guys in the ring, like put an AJ Styles in, put a Nakamura in, put a Seth Rollins in. It's gonna be a great match, but I just wasn't invested in the match. I didn't really care. It wasn't like his turn at the Raw didn't do anything for me. It wasn't like sometimes when people turn, I'm like, oh wow, that was like awesome. When he did it, I'm like, oh well, like who cares? The fact that like the promos were pretty decent, but like it was in Japanese and they had to translate it later. Like it just wasn't set. Like I wasn't sold on the storyline as well. There's no storyline since the Bloodline that's probably like captured my attention. Like nothing has captured my attention other than the Bloodline for like the longest time. So I don't know. Like I feel like we're kind of in a lull of storylines at the moment. Judgment Day's coming up. Like that's cool. Cool. See, it's cool seeing what's happening with Judgment Day. But I need like a good storyline to like enthrall me again because the Bloodline like did it for me for that held us over for a long time. So I could go with this little lull for a while because that Bloodline storyline spoiled us for a really long time, almost like 2.5, 3 years, right? So I can go with a little lull. It is summer; people are going to be away on vacation. They're not going to be as in. But now that's pick up again, right? Because we're coming into Survivor Series and war games and stuff. I hope it's war games again, but like stuff like that is really fun to see. So I like really want to see it. Just like what Will said in the chat, have Solo Sikoa win one of the titles, and was it Jay win the other one, and they fight each other at SummerSlam, Survivor Series. Sorry, because it's champion versus champion usually. But maybe they'll throw in NXT as well because now that like some of the titles are like Tiffany Stratton was there last night, right? Dominic is the NXT champion for the the Intercontinental level, mid card level. Like so, maybe they'll throw in the NXT again this year into the Survivor Series. Who knows? Yeah. We still have a
side note. I do love the dig Tom did at his dad. He's like, he's only the champion in the U.S. I'm the North American champion, which includes all of so my title means more.
That's funny.
I was like, no.
That is funny. But yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'd like to see stuff like that.
Yeah, I am kind of hoping. I know Survivor Series isn't the next Premier Live event, but I'm hoping that it's not like brand versus brand because that doesn't really matter anymore in this age.
Right.
Yeah, I think just like last year, I think it should just be like just team based. Go back to the original, and I think Triple H likes that aspect where it's just the storyline or whomever who has like a beef with each other.
Mhm.
That would be if they're doing work. Because I don't know why, I might have made it up. I might need to look it up. But I swear Triple H said they weren't. They may not do war games every year. It might just be when the story calls for it. But I might have made that up in my mind. I don't
Oh
know.
well, Will just said in the chat. He doesn't think they're doing
Oh,
war games
okay.
this year either. I'd like to have it as a yearly thing. That'd be kind of cool at Survivor Series. Because remember, Survivor Series has come a long way. When I was younger, Survivor Series was always like most of the matches were 4v4 or 5v5 elimination matches to have a surviving team at the end after all the eliminations, and then they might have one main event, which is the champion, like the WWE champ or WWF champion back then, right? That was cool. Then it evolved into like just didn't matter whatever was going on, just regular matches. Then it evolved into brand versus brand. Now we have like war games. Like I want to see something steady again. Like we used to have those 5-on-5 elimination or 4-on-4 elimination matches. Those told a lot of stories. Those elimination matches told a lot of stories. So if you're gonna do that as a war games, or at least bring that aspect back in Survivor Series because I do miss that.
Yeah, or I think it'd be exhausting, at least now, for like a couple of matches to be that way. So maybe like a men's one, a women's ones, and that kind of be
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
okay. Yeah, and then your regular like standard um one on ones. But
right.
yeah, I
Start the night with one of them, well, either gender of it, and then the other the opposing gender, the opposite gender would do the next the final match of the night, that kind of thing, you know. So if they start with the women's, finish with the men's. If they start with the men's, finish with the women's. Whatever storyline's
yeah
more intriguing at that time, finish with that, you know, and get the crowd into it early with the other one.
yeah. I think that that would be fun, and then you could that way you could still mix all the brands if you wanted to.
Okay, and Seth Rollins is the Raw champion, right?
Yes.
I'm not that it matters, but he's the Raw champion, right? So I guess tonight we'll find out who is next. His next opponent. We'll probably get an idea of what his next
Yeah,
opponent
because
is.
apparently Will said Shinsuke attacked him after the paper
Uh,
or after the cameras went off, and I was like, oh, a little bit okay,
so maybe him against him again. I don't know. I don't know. I
run
don't
it back.
maybe and have Shinsuke win. I don't know. I guess we'll see. It overall, I mean, that match was great. I really don't care where Seth Rollins. I just want to see him lose. Like I said, I'd rather have Roman Reigns come back and beat him and hold those belts too. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, yeah, he is getting a little stale. He's still doing great like in the ring, but I feel like character wise, a
You
little stale.
give him and Becky a break for a while, so when they come back at Royal Rumble, it'll be more
Yeah.
intriguing.
Well, I feel like Becky's only been in one feud for like the longest, so it hasn't like
I think it's just taking a toll on her body, and people are getting bored of her as well.
gotcha,
But
gotcha,
so
gotcha.
like, give them both some time off. I mean, I know Seth Rollins is hot as ever. Like everyone loves singing his intro, and they keep singing it once he's out. But like, it's getting boring. Like I wish, like we need some, like Roman Reigns goes away for a while, and then when he comes back, it's more special. Like, and he's still champion. I know they don't want to have both champions off, so have Seth Rollins drop the championship somebody else, and let them carry the thing for a while. Will says Logan Paul comes back and takes it from Seth. I doubt that's gonna happen, but I don't know if I'd rather see that. Honestly. I don't know what I'd rather see. As long as I just told you, I want to see Roman Reigns come back and beat Seth Rollins and then go away again and have all the belts.
But yeah, but as far as Becky going away, I do think it may just be like one night only, but I do think she is gonna either she's gonna face the free strat on NXT or the
Oh
reverse
yeah,
free strat will face
yeah.
her on Raw or something like that because they did have a backstage interaction. That's because Tiff kind of called her out um either last week or the week before for uh what Heat Wave I think it was, and where she was calling out past champions
Mm-hmm.
and she mentioned Becky's name, and she's like, and then later on,
She's
was
like,
like,
oh yeah,
"Oh yeah, sorry, I
wait,
forgot she was never a champion."
right.
So yeah, I think they would have a nice little back for, and again, it gives Tiffany and NXT in general a little bit of a rub to like check
Right.
them out and things like that. So yeah,
All right, we're gonna go to our finishers now. So Delisha, your low point, your high point, your overall grade.
I think I'm just gonna give the low point just to Austin and Ray, just because as far as being engaged, I wasn't as engaged as I was with some of the other matches. And the high point, I think I'm going to give to um tag team match because I wasn't expecting it to be as great as it was, and I personally got shocked to seeing Judgment Day win the title, so that was great. And overall, I think I'm gonna give a solid B. I do think all the matches, none of them were like terrible, and all but like I said, the Austin Ray match kept me like engaged, just like see what happens stuff like that. So I think it was like a solid premium live event. Then overall, yeah, I think solid work, guys. It it lived up to appropriate hype,
Yeah.
as I
So
said earlier.
for me, on the same page as you for both. Low point was Austin Theory Rey Mysterio match. Like I said, it could have been a SmackDown or a Raw match, whichever brand they are, because I know the brands. The match of the overall high point was the tag team match for the World Tag Team Championships, because that had crazy moments, crazy spots. I like seeing that. And like Will said, I'm gonna give it a B plus. Um, as well, because like I said, they had huge spots this match, whether it be in the steel cage match, whether it be inside the tag team match, anything. Like there were a lot of huge spots throughout the night. So seeing all that made me give it a B plus. I love seeing it. Most of the high spots obviously came from the steel cage match as well as the um, tag team match, but it was great spots overall. Delisha, where can we find you? And Will's on the same thing as me and you for the
Yeah,
points.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I gave it a B plus, and you gave it a B, and Will gave it a B plus as well. So good job. I think we're pretty much all on the same page here. Delisha, where can we
Yeah.
find you?
I would say before we go, we will be remiss to not
Oh,
say rest in peace to we lost Hall of Famer Terry Funk, and surprisingly, very short we lost Bray Wyatt to his battling health issues. Um, this is, I think, for a lot of this generation, when it comes to Bray at least, that this kind of feels like when in our, I guess, our generation, we lost Eddie because it was just so sudden for someone that young and for it to not be expected and what they meant to the wrestling community. I've been loving all of the like tributes that all the wrestlers have been saying, using, I mean, not using, showing that someone made it a good point that Bray as in well Wyndham Rotunda as his character Bray and the Fiend was, I never realized how much in character he always was. Especially when he was like champion giving interviews, he like pretty much stayed in character. So you didn't know like how many of the actual like wrestlers like he was friends with and how many stories they had with him. So I do think it is a shame when we lose, anyone um of note, and especially so suddenly. And just shout out to his friends and family and his like young kids that he unfortunately had to leave behind. And but also don't want to ignore Terry Funk, but he had a very great lasting career. I think he was what, 79,
yeah, it was
something
up
like
there in
that.
age. Yeah,
So he was able to to live a life and leaving a very big lasting impact, especially in the hardcore genre, so to speak, of wrestling. So I didn't want to make I didn't want to feel we were going to ignore him as well. But they both had very different impacts, but impacts amongst the wrestling community and just people in general across the world. So just didn't want the show to go without mentioning that, as if like
yeah.
we were trying to ignore it.
Two things also about I want to say. Yeah, another thing about to add on to Bray Wyatt is the love he had like for the universe too. Because if you saw him, people like if they're on their TikTok videos or their YouTube videos or Twitter videos, whatever they posted, he'd always take the time and when he's like a young fan, he'd like when he's walking to the arena, he'll stop and like open the barricade and go give them a hug and take pictures. So he's very like he loved the universe and he gave back to them, and it was nice to see how kind and warm-hearted he was. Even though he was a fiend character and he was a heel, he was, at some points he was a heel, he still loved the crowd, and he gave back to the fans when he saw them and whenever he could. Like he'll be getting onto the tour bus with his family, he'll say 1 second, let me go say how do those fans, give him a hug, take a picture, and that was great to see. And to answer your previous question, who would I want to see beat Seth Rollins? I'd love to see CM Punk come back and beat Seth Rollins because
No,
they have a real life feud. So I'd love to see that happen. If not Roman Reigns, I can get back. I can get back on CM Punk's bandwagon. Not that one. I used to love CM Punk. When he signed with AEW, I was despised. I didn't like him. I didn't like it. So now if he comes back home, I'd love to see CM Punk defeat Seth Rollins for the championship. Okay, now back to where Delisha. What have you been up to? Where can we find you?
you can find me on Instagram and wait, I'm like, where can you find me? I don't
YouTube,
know.
Twitter.
This heat, man, I don't. Well, for those who are not on the, well, I guess the West Coast is getting into, but here on the East Coast, especially here in the PA, I guess also Jersey area, it is like getting in the mid 90s up towards with like in feeling
We're setting
like
records. Yeah, we're setting records.
yeah,
Heat advisory
and it is
records.
really hot. And I took my daughter out to the park this morning just so she can expend some energy. and it drained me. So my brain is like, I'm not giving you any information that you need. But yes, you can find me on Instagram and on YouTube at Renee TV. There wasn't a video last week because I was on vacation, but there will be a video coming out tomorrow. So if you would like, give me a like and a subscribe and a watch to see what's going on. Talk about motherhood, life, and other healthy recipes. So give me a watch if you would like.
Yeah, as for me, I don't know. I don't see any games on the horizon. I know Spider-Man's coming out in October, but like I said, last time I played Spider-Man on the stream, people came and spoiled the ending for me because since I played those games, I only played on stream, so I had to wait to play it, and then people had already beat it within like 2 days, and they came and spoiled the ending. So I'm not gonna play Spider-Man 2 on the stream, but maybe I'll do a Genshin Wish or two, yeah, probably Genshin Wish or two on stream, possibly if there's any characters I want to get. There is one coming up, so I might be doing a stream for that, but I don't know when they're coming out. It might be 3 or 4 months from now. So we'll see. If that happens, I will be streaming that. But other than that, the next time you'll see us here on AfterMat is for Fastlane. Fastlane's on Saturday, the 10th of October. So you shall see us the following Monday, the 9th of October. Subject to change if we have something going on in our life. But thank you all for joining us. Thank you for your insights and all your help today. Until then, guys, what did I used to say? Keep slaying the hitters to become the champion of your dreams. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. On we'll go, finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest, echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to